What's up, YouTube? Alright, I'm a little bit sick right now. I have a slight cold. I'm wondering if it's wearing off. I've had this cough for a couple days, but I had a cold last month and I got another one this month. So I guess I got sick again. And yeah, so moving on. This is going to be a video response to the Irate Gamer who made a response to Archfiend. And a lot of people have actually bashed the Irate Gamer for years. I was one who preferred the AVGN over the Irate Gamer, but here we go. On to the video.
Well, this is going to be quite an interesting video.
Hold on.
As you know... Well, this is going to be quite an interesting video. As you know, Archfiend, of all people, ended up making a video on me recently about some of the hate that this channel gets still, and I thought it was a very interesting video, and he made a lot of great points in that video. And it was kind of the first time I was compelled to actually do a video like this in response, because I feel maybe now is the time to actually do something like this. You know, many times in the past I've wanted to do a video like this and talk about some of the things I want to talk about in this video. But, you know, one of the reasons is I don't feel that I'm really good just ripping in front of the camera. You know, I personally feel...
You know, I have respect for both James, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I have respect for Chris, aka the Irate Gamer, Chris Boris.
It's not my strong point, so I've never really done it. But, you know, I guess with his video kind of lit a fire under my butt to actually make one of these things. And maybe kind of talk about some of the stuff that I've been hush-hush on for so many years. But yeah, in this video I'm going to talk about a lot of things. I'm going to talk about, first of all, how I got started in this, well, on YouTube.
I'm going to tell you basically one thing. I was filmed at a party when I was 16 years old on YouTube also. So, I wanted to make a YouTube account because I've been watching YouTube videos and I fell in love with YouTube. I was really starting to like a lot of YouTube's videos, so then I looked up, tried to make a YouTube account, and then it wouldn't work. Nothing added, so I added numbers. My original name was Fishan360. There was a kid I went to school with. His name was Kyle. His username was FishinFools360, and I really couldn't even come up with a good name. But now it's Justin Taylor. Yeah, here we go.
So, let's rewind this thing all the way back to 2006. Okay, so that was, what, 8 years ago? And back then, what I was doing these videos called Haunted Investigators. It was a ghost hunting show that I was uploading to YouTube that was very interesting to me. And, you know, when I was posting those things online, they were getting, you know, mediocre views on...
Yeah, so do mine. Mine get mediocre views. One of my videos has over 2,000. Some have over 1,000. That's at least better than what I usually get, which is like 25 views or something, basically.
And one of the big things on YouTube back in that day were these things called angry reviews of old video games. I mean, it was the in thing that I just stumbled across. And that first night, I was just like, wow, this is so cool. I really found something that I was inspired by.
Then again, people have accused Chris Boris of ripping off the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I really don't think he's a ripoff if he's inspired by something. You can't really call that a ripoff. You can call that, like, if he was copying someone, maybe he was inspired to do it because people are doing it, and that doesn't make them a ripoff, and they don't call them a ripoff. They call Chris Boris a ripoff.
And, you know, of course, James was doing it. There was a host of others. I found Armake, I think is how you pronounce that. But yeah, there was just a host of others that I subscribed to and watched. And, you know, I didn't start right away. I didn't start doing reviews in 2006. But that's when I started watching this stuff. And I even emailed, you know, James and Armake and said, hey, I love how you review this stuff. Of course, they never wrote back to me, but in my own mind, I thought, man, you know, it'd be cool to kind of get popular on YouTube one day and do a collab with these people because, you know, they do a great job. And, you know, of course, I was doing the ghost videos. And for the longest time, you know, I did want to do these type of reviews, but I didn't want to step on any toes. I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. You know, I just didn't want to because I knew it would lead to, you know, all the crap that happened over the next few years. But actually, there was one catalyst that changed my mind. One thing that I ran across on YouTube that told me, you know, hey, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do just that. And during that time, I had run across a video that somebody had posted because, yeah, there was James doing his angry reviews, and you know, just a bunch of other people doing them as well.
Yep. Mm. You know what I like to say about this? In this video, I've seen a lot of James's videos over the years. Found out about James in 2009. My favorite videos that James does are the You Know It's Bullshit videos. And a lot of his angry video game nerd reviews are pretty good too. Moving on.
Well, there's, you know, over 100. And one person asked him, he said, do you mind that you have so many people doing the exact same thing that you're doing? And James actually responded to this video, or I'm sorry, he responded to this email saying, yeah, I find it very flattering. I don't care, you know, if a bunch of people do this. It's awesome. He feels very honored by this. And the guy actually posted a video of this email that he got back from James.
You know, responding, Eric Vierthal in 92 is a very, is a big fan of James. Eric is a good friend of mine. Me and him didn't get along really well because I made fun of him for saying AC/DC sucks, but I don't care. I mean, people at my high school would always make fun of AC/DC in front of me. Now, I don't think Eric would do that personally because every kid in my school knew I liked AC/DC and they said AC/DC sucks. Your taste in music is awful. I don't think Eric would ever do that to a person personally. There's nothing wrong with disliking AC/DC, but you don't really have to go up to someone and say AC/DC sucks right to your face. That's kind of a, you know, that's kind of a douche thing to do. But if you say AC/DC sucks in the video, I won't care anymore. And people will personally come on my channel and say AC/DC sucks. That's what pissed me off. But moving on with this video.
So I ended up seeing this, and I'm like, you know, maybe I would, you know, I want to do one of these. I think it would be very fun. I think it would be very cool to do a review in that same manner.
You know, the first video I ever saw Chris Boris do was the review of Jaws. You know, that video wasn't too bad.
So, yeah, it's 2007, March, and I sit down and I'm like, what do I do? Back to the Future. I've always hated this game. Let's do Back to the Future. So that,
you know, I heard they've done good movies and terrible video games like Back to the Future, like he just said.
That's my first review. And a lot of the jokes in there, yeah, they were corny. they're stupid. Some stuff I borrowed from other reviews because I didn't know what else to do.
You know, I don't blame Chris for doing that because there is freedom of speech. So Chris could have had every right to do that. You know, this video got a lot of haters to actually commented and finally understood what Chris was doing.
It was my very first review. So I threw that together, posted it online, maybe 5 people watched it. I mean, it wasn't very popular, but you know, me and my circle of friends, I was like, hey, look at this, I think it's funny, and you know, it's in the same vein that everybody else is doing, and you know, they laughed at it, I laughed at it, and I made a couple other videos, and you know, it just, you know, Waldo, Where's Waldo, I did, Goonies, and it was all done in the same type of manner. You know, I would work in the morning, do the stuff in my free time, post it online, and you know, me and my friends would laugh at it.
You know, I'm kind of doing the same thing Chris does. I go to work and I do this. I film videos on my free time. In 2013, I had all the free time I ever could have because I was unemployed. In 2014, that changed because I got a job. Like, when I started YouTube in 2008, I didn't post any videos. I didn't post any videos in 2009. Not until December 2010 is when I posted my first video that was titled Stuff That Is Overrated. So in 2010, and then in 2011 I posted a few videos, same in 2012. In 2013 I posted like 100 videos. 2014, I was out hunting for jobs, so I got the job in 2014. I still made videos in 2014, and in 15, and now. Well, I've gotten much more work this year than I did last year and the year before.
So then, around the summertime, there was this thing on game trailers called the Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And, you know, by this time, I had maybe 100 fans subscribed to my channel. And
yeah, as Chris said, Archfiend made a video about, actually 2 videos about Irate Gamer to this subject.
A lot of these fans were in the know, and they knew everything that was going down. And they told me about this Out Nerd the Nerd contest, and they're like, hey, you should enter your stuff into the contest because it's really, you do a great job with editing and all this stuff. You're skilled. You know, maybe you get some more views that way, because, yeah, my videos had, like, maybe 200 views at this point. You know, a drop in the bucket compared to what they were, you know, in months to follow. We'll get to that. But, yeah, I even had somebody from Game Trailers actually email me and say,
No. You know, I respect Chris a lot.
hey, you should enter
I have a lot of respect for other people.
into this contest. So, over that summer, and you'll even see on the videos that a lot of my videos were just, you know, quickly banged out that summer. And I submitted all these into that Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And, you know, of course, I used some of his, well, I should say a lot of his personality traits and whatnot, and threw those into the video to out-nerd him, basically. Because that's what the rules of the contest were. And, you know, I submitted them. I had people from Game Trailers be like, oh my god, these are great, you're going to win if you enter, and all this other stuff. So, yeah, I submitted all this stuff. And after that, I found out that another guy won. His name was the Happy Nerd, I guess.
I think I've heard of him before. The Happy Video Game Nerd or something like that.
And I watched the video and I said to myself, you've got to be kidding me. This is what won the contest? It was nothing like the nerd. And, you know, I was kind of miffed by that. So I put a lot of hard work and energy into this, and I thought I was a lock for the winner. Well, I later found out that the contest was rigged.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure...
I'm going to say something about this. I'm pretty sure that nomination when Hillary beat Bernie Sanders was also rigged because people said that Bernie Sanders won California by 100,000 votes and 2/3 of his votes weren't counted. So, of course, that's rigged. And usually elections are rigged in a way, but Trump beat Hillary, so we have to deal with that. And quite frankly, I don't like Hillary, and this is the third time she tried running. Bernie would have beaten Trump, but Hillary got the nomination just because the votes weren't counted and some people couldn't vote for Bernie Sanders, which in this country is a bunch of bullshit that you can't... This is why I hate voting. Even though I voted for Bernie Sanders in the caucus, he creamed Hillary up in Washington and in Alaska, and quite frankly, I would have voted for Bernie in that election. I would have voted for Bernie, and Bernie probably would have won because he's beaten Trump in every poll by like 10 points. And Hillary loses. Here's how it goes. I'm just going to get off topic for a minute. Hillary is losing to Trump later. Then she's beating Trump big time. Then she fails. Then Trump pulls ahead again. Hillary stomps him. And then Hillary goes down in that election. That's basically it.
James had a hand in actually picking the winner. And, of course...
He could have.
Of course, that was kind of the first time he, kind of snuffed me.
I never thought James would actually do that.
At that point. But I was like, okay, well, whatever. So, I kept making reviews, and I made the Mario review, and then the Muscle review, and at some point, I ended up getting featured on YouTube. Now, when you get featured on YouTube back in 2007, this was a big deal. You showed up everywhere. You showed up at the side of the pages. You showed up on the front page. You showed up absolutely everywhere. Every nook and cranny of YouTube, you popped up. And that's exactly what happened. Now, let me explain... a little in detail the pecking order of YouTube reviewers on YouTube in 2007. Now, there was indeed a pecking order. James was at the top with 25,000 subscribers. The next tier, the second popular game reviewer was Armic21, and he had about 5,000 subscribers. Okay, so there's a huge gap in between these two guys. Now, underneath him, there were three guys, 3,000 subscriber tier. The one guy was Fat Man Cometh. Another guy was, what was his name? I want to say Jedite. And another guy that I can't remember. Then underneath them, there were, I'd say, maybe about 10 people with 2,000.
And what I was saying about Eric Vierthaler92, a good friend of mine, I actually sent this video to him because it actually made sense what he will say later in this video. And I'll tell you that in a minute when he gets to this, at least.
Subscribers. There's people like Slide Dog Studios, Acoustic Rocker, I think Spoony One was in there somewhere, and so on and so forth. And then you had a lot of guys in the 1,000 tier mark. And, again, you had people like Play It Bogart. I watched all these dudes, so I know a lot of the names. And then, of course, underneath that, you had all the guys underneath the 1,000 subscribers trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber point. And there was maybe 200 people doing these type of reviews. And, of course, I was probably 201 way down there with my measly 200 subscribers. So, okay, now that you know that, so yes, I ended up getting featured. And overnight, and I didn't realize I was going to get featured. I woke up and saw my email box flooded with emails I look at my video. The video went from like 200 views to 10,000. This was overnight.
This is something you can't blame Chris for, because his video got featured, and I think it got featured on YouTube. By YouTube, I think.
My subscriber count, which was in the 200s, went up into the... I went from 200 subscribers to 11,000 subscribers almost overnight. I flipped out. This just did not happen back in 2007. And like
Wow.
I said...
And that's quite a lot of subscribers.
James had 25,000 subscribers. Armake had 5,000. I was now at 11,000. I was now the second most popular reviewer on YouTube. And that doesn't go unnoticed, especially by those 200 other people that had been on YouTube for a whole year. And this was the entire subscriber base that they were able to pick up during that time. So, what happened? Now all these reviewers start looking at my videos saying, who the hell is this guy? Where did this guy come from? I had only been on YouTube for maybe about 3-4 months. And all my stuff was basically what everybody else had been doing that whole time. Now remember, I was also doing the nerd contest. I was doing this stuff for my friends. You know, I didn't really take this stuff seriously. But these 200 other subscribers, so these 200 other YouTube reviewers look at my stuff, see that every single one of my videos now has, you know, over 20,000 views on them, because the Mario review ended up getting featured, and people wanted to see what else I have done. So yeah, the view count exploded all across the board. And of course, these other YouTubers check out my videos, and they're like, what the hell? Everything this guy does is a lift from me or James. Well, yeah, of course it was. I mean, I had 200 subscribers. I didn't take this thing seriously. So now, I become the #1 villain that everybody is gunning after. They want my blood. So these other guys they start making videos on me. They start, you know, calling me every name in the book. And yeah, so then all their followers are like, what the hell is this about? So then they trash me. They make videos. And so I just have, the hate just piled. There was just hate piled upon hate piled upon hate. It was very unreal and very surreal, actually. So now there's a dilemma that I have to deal with.
And that's what my old name, my name was Surreal. I don't go by that anymore. I go by Justin.
You know, what do I do at this point? Because now I have 11,000 people subscribe to me. They want more. But I have a huge hater base over here going, this guy sucks. How did he get popular? What the hell? And, you know, I'm in the middle of it all going, yikes, what do I do? So, you know, I ended up taking psychology and philosophy in college. So I thought the best thing I should do is just shut up. I didn't say one damn word about anything.
And it makes sense. I mean, when people say something to me, say something rude to me, I'm known usually to fire back at them. And I'll get to that in a little bit.
And you know, I've kind of maintained that silence to today. So yeah, I had 11,000 subscribers, and I thought, well, now I've got a fan base. This is pretty neat. I Yes, I'm going to make more reviews. And don't tell me that not one of you out there want to do the exact same thing. Because that is a complete friggin' lie.
Not just a lie, it wouldn't make any sense if you didn't.
I know damn well that anyone with 11,000 subscribers gained overnight half of what James had would keep continuing doing what they were doing.
Yeah, you guys would be happy to have that amount of subscribers. Even I would be happy to have that amount of subscribers.
And that's exactly what I did. So after that happened, it seemed like right away...
And in this video, you'll see Chris backflashes of what he was doing.
Another one of my videos ended up getting featured. It was the muscle review. That was the second.
You know, I have a lot of respect for Chris. I have a lot of respect. I like this video a lot. You know, I wanted to find out, actually, this is, contrary to this video, a thing. I thought that he would make videos, I thought he would make a video mentioning James, or how he got started on YouTube, and I looked it up, and I found out that he actually did. And I thought that was kind of cool, but I didn't find it out about till this year, which the video was posted 2 years ago. Here we go.
Video that got featured, and it was maybe like 2 weeks later that that video ended up getting featured. And if you thought these other 200 reviewers were pissed then, oh, now they're super pissed now, because I was, well, for one, I was the very first reviewer that had ever gotten featured on YouTube. James had never been featured. Armake has never been featured. And I had been featured not once, but twice. So now, if the hate wasn't enough, it just poured on. So haters were coming out of the woodwork. And they just weren't hating. But they were also really dragging my name through the mud and spreading lies and rumors and stuff that just was not true. And it was a crazy time. You know, even at certain points, haters had even said that every single one of those 11,000 subscribers were me doing sock puppet accounts. I just thought that was so ludicrous. Like,
who would actually create sock puppet accounts for fake? You know how much time that would take? You would have to make 11,000 people up with emails, and you would have to do this for hours and hours. Oh my gosh. And when I started on YouTube, it was a Yahoo account. Now you have to use Gmail. But, I mean, look at this. You have to, like, make 11,000 YouTube accounts to subscribe to yourself, which is basically a huge waste of time. I mean, it's just like post the video and then be happy that you posted it. And then when you get fans, it's supposed to be a happy thing. And listen to this again.
Certain points, haters had even said that every single one of those 11,000 subscribers were me doing sock puppet accounts. I just thought that was so ludicrous. Like, like I sit there for hours and hours and hours creating 10,000. Man, I wish I had that much time. And it's funny too, because my mom actually gets on YouTube and, you know, watches my stuff and interacts with some of the fans, and people say, "Oh, even that is Irate Gamer."
I doubt that would be Irate Gamer.
They even accused my friend Eric, who shows up in the videos. They accused him of being me.
What, do you expect him to wear a mask and play two people at the same time? No. I side with Chris on this one, and this is ludicrous and just unbelievable that you guys are that dumb to think that he would make 11,000 subscribers, be his mom, and be Eric.
At certain points. But, yeah, stuff like that. It's just, it's like, what? Where do they come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
But, you know, one of the people's opinions that really mattered to me was a person that they said I was copying from.
James.
So I wanted to reach out to James Rolfe personally and say, look, I just want to clear the air I did not copy you on purpose. You were an inspiration. And a couple other things I can't remember right now. But that's basically, I sent him an email saying all this stuff, hoping to clear the air and just, extend an olive branch to this guy and say, look, don't feed into this, whatever these guys are saying, because it's not true. And I just want to make sure that you don't think it's true. So I sent this email off to him, and I ended up getting a reply from him. And interestingly enough, he kind of had a set of demands that he wanted from me that said, I'm okay with this, but I want you to publicly acknowledge that I was your inspiration. I want it in black and white, and I want it done in this manner. And so I didn't reply right away.
I mean, sometimes people it takes time for them to reply.
But I woke up one morning and saw that the email that I sent him was posted online. Since I did not write back, he posted it online.
Which I think is kind of a cruel thing to do.
And I was devastated. Here was a guy that I looked up to who was a huge inspiration. And, he did this. And I just thought it was, a very douchebag move.
And that's kind of rude. I mean,
he did this. And I just thought it was, a very douchebag move.
And Archfiend thought that the one who probably did that was Mike Matei, who is a friend of James.
And I lost all respect from that guy from then on. I stopped watching his reviews. I made it a point never to talk about him again, which I guess I'm breaking.
I guess they wouldn't have had to post that video if if they would have given Chris the time to acknowledge that James inspired him, which he's talking about right now in the video. I mean, I told Eric Vierthaler92, my good friend from YouTube, who inspired me to make videos. I told him that since I watched this video, I asked him what does he think of the AVGN, and he said he loves the AVGN, and he said that Chris Boris was a ripoff of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I said that he inspired him, and he said it makes sense. So I sent him this video, and he said he'd watch it. And I guess this video has makes a lot of sense, saying that Chris got inspired by the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Breaking now.
First, I think he was the Angry Nintendo Nerd. Then he was the Angry Atari Sega Nerd. Then he was the Angry Video Game Nerd. Moving on.
But yeah, from then on, I was like, I saw what kind of guy I was dealing with, and it really hurt my feelings back then. I know, wham, but I knew at that point just what I was dealing with, and and I didn't want to say anything, of course, because this is just not the way I am. But it was kind of frustrating when all these people were just coming out of the woodwork saying that, Chris Boris, Irate Gamer, is such an asshole, douchebag. He's in it for the money. There's something I've never heard since James did that Kickstarter. Chris Boris is in it for the money. That all went away after that. But yeah, they were saying all these things about me when I knew what this guy did. I mean, I couldn't live with myself doing that to somebody else. I'm a very religious person in my personal life, and
yeah, I'm religious as well, like he said right here.
And I don't think anybody's really seen that. I'm a very religious person in my personal life, and
I wonder if I don't know what he is. I'm Christian. He could be Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, whatever he is.
I don't think anybody's really seen that side of me, because
I only like to lash back if I've been insulted, and I lash back with profanity even though I am a Christian. I just don't like getting made fun of.
the Irate Gamer is just, it's a shtick, it's a character.
And the real inside of me is a guy who has a big heart. Now, I'll tell you, if you don't believe me, one time I walked up to a homeless man, handed him a bag of food, and he gave me a hug for that. I gave him dinner. I gave him like 2 Doubleliciouses that, from, what's that place? KFC, and a cup of water to wash it down with. And then he gave me a hug. I don't give homeless people money because sometimes I think they might go buy alcohol or they might go buy cigarettes and stuff.
And I guess in some ways I can understand. I mean, here's a guy who's sitting at 25,000 subscribers. A guy gets half of this in one weekend, and he keeps catching up. After I got featured the second time, I ended up jumping up to 16,000 subscribers when James was at 29,000 subscribers. So here, I ended up surpassing the halfway point of how many subscribers he had. So
yeah, listen to this.
A guy gets half of this in one weekend, and he keeps catching up. After I got featured the second time, I ended up jumping up to 16,000 subscribers when James was at 29,000 subscribers. So here, I ended up surpassing the halfway point of how many subscribers he had. So I was, gaining on him, and maybe I was considered a threat at that time. So I guess I get it in some weird way, but still, there's better ways to handle things like that. But yeah, so my next review was the Tetris review. And now, of course, I have my 16,000 subscribers to my name. When I posted that...
Wait a minute.
How many subscribers he had. So I was, gaining on him, and maybe I was considered a threat. He keeps catching up. After I got featured the second time, I ended up jumping up to 16,000 subscribers when James was at 29,000
At first I thought he said 17,000
subscribers. So here, I ended up surpassing the halfway point of how many subscribers he had. So I was, gaining on him, and maybe I was considered a threat at that time. So I guess I get it in some weird way, but still, there's better ways to handle things like that. But yeah, so my next review was the Tetris review. And now, of course, I have my 16,000 subscribers to my name. When I posted that, within the first 2 days, that video ended up becoming the number 7th video on all of YouTube. That just blew my mind. And within that first day, I almost had 100,000 views. That was insane.
Wow.
So at this point, I kept...
Like he just said, listen to this.
Blew my mind. And within that first day, I almost had 100,000 views. That was insane.
Yep.
So at this point, I kept making videos. Haters kept doing their thing, and I kept dropping lower on that the top 100 YouTube channel list, and I ended up getting into the 55th most subscribed channel at one point, which was very cool. But yeah, I kept making videos, and I was trying to do 2 things. I was trying to find my own voice and try to do my own thing with special effects and storylines and all this thing and all that. But at the same time, I was trying to keep the flavor of what I was doing, because people were like, oh, this is what I subscribed to you for. I want more of this. So I was trying to do two things. And of course, when you do that, it's a double-edged sword. And, I was basically damned if I did or didn't. And of course, like Archfiend will point out in his video that he just did, this is pretty much the point where he jumped on and did all his stuff. And, of course, everybody else was doing it. So, it was just the thing to do. Even James around this time took another shot at me publicly. I guess he was at some expo thing, and someone asked him what he thought of the Irate Gamer. And his reply was, well, since he doesn't acknowledge my existence, I won't do that either.
Listen to this carefully.
And of course, like Archfiend will, and did all his stuff, and of course, everybody else was doing it. So, it was just the thing to do. Even James around this time took another shot at me publicly. I guess he was at some expo thing, and someone...
Listen to this very carefully. I have that video right here where he was asked. And someone asked, what do you think of the Irate Gamer?
I can't really think anything good for that, so I don't know. What do you think of the Irate Gamer? Answer that as quickly as I can. I have no reason to answer it. I mean, he pretty much pretends that I don't exist, so why would I even need to say anything about it?
So what I think he said is that he said, I think that he said something like this, like, he doesn't think, or he says he pretends that I don't exist, so why would I need to say anything about him? So he thinks that apparently what Chris said is that James was had some expo thing, and he said that he doesn't acknowledge the Irate Gamer's existence as, like, that Chris thinks that that James doesn't exist, so he won't acknowledge his existence either, which is kind of a rude thing. I mean, now even Chris is making this video that actually makes sense. And I think that's kind of a harsh thing of James to actually do. And I think James is a great guy. I think his videos are great. But people need to understand that I don't think Chris asked for this, personally. And then this is what this YouTuber posted. And this person hasn't even posted a video since then, which was on July 17th, 2009. And it said, and that's what every Irate Gamer hater should do. Don't acknowledge his existence. I know I'm not going to. You need to realize, it says, even though I am right now something. You need to understand that this is actually kind of harsh to even this guy posted up a video about Archfiend, and the Archfiend actually opened up to what Chris did, and then he made a video. And then Chris made this video, and then Archfiend made another video just the day after this video was posted. Here we go.
When asked him what he thought of the Irate Gamer, and his reply was, well, since he doesn't acknowledge my existence, I won't do that either. And all I could sit back and think was, wow, if you weren't such a dick to me, things would have been a lot different. I would have talked about you all the time and been more than happy to do so. But for a guy that's always undercutting me, and for someone who posted a private email to him online for basically everyone to laugh at and make
I mean, humiliating someone is very, very low.
fun of, what do you expect me to do? I mean, go on my YouTube channel and keep kissing his butt? I didn't see him as that same person anymore after that. And, I will say, for somebody who is so concerned about copying, how come I've never seen a Let's Play video on his channel posted before PewDiePie came along? Yeah, I've never seen anyone make that observation. But I've been called out for a lot less, even if it was true or not. But at this point, it's kind of interesting because the tide was turning just a little bit. James was starting to do things, I think, that showed chinks in his armor. And a few, I should say haters of mine were starting to see the light, basically. And they're starting to see these things shine through, and they're going, wait a minute, something's not adding up here. Something's not right. And they're starting to see a side of James that I had seen from the beginning. Now, during this time as well, James was kind of doing things to me as well that I'm sure, just the regular people wouldn't pick up on. As you know, the Mario Brothers 2 review. He watched it. He told me he watched it. Shortly after that, he ended up making his Mario 3 review. And there's a lot of similarities in that review if you watch it. Both are set up like half documentary, half review. Both have like a satanic type theme to it, which I thought was interesting. There's just a lot of other similarities where if the tables were reversed, if I had done my Mario review after his Mario 3 review, I would have been drugged through the mud and for doing something like that. But yeah, it was just things like that. I would announce things that I wanted to review. I announced, I'm going to review Silver Surfer. He did it a month later. And then I announced, I'm going to do Superman. Superman 64. He did that a month later. So there came a point where I had to stop posting on my website the reviews that I wanted to do because James would always beat me to the punch. I did not have a lot of free time to work on this stuff like he did. I had a day job and whatnot. So I couldn't get to this stuff really fast. Another thing I want to talk about is the whole Rob the Robot controversy and just kind of clear the air here. Now, I guess James, at some point, ended up putting in the ending of his video that he was going to do Rob the Robot. It was foreshadowing the next episode because it popped up behind his back or something like that. At this point, I had stopped watching his videos. So I had no idea that he did this. Now, 3 or 4 days later, I ended up doing a Rob the Robot review. And people were screaming bloody murder. And saying that, the only reason he did this, Irate Gamer did this review is because he was going to do it first. And I just sat there going, wait, what? First of all, how can I put together a review like this in the matter of 3 or 4 days? It took me a good month to put this together. Second of all, I took a clip from the footage that I was working on, 2 months prior. It was in the intro of one of my videos. I think it was either the Cubert or the Predator video that I did, and put that right in the intro. So I myself was foreshadowing, I was doing Rob the Robot 2 months prior to James's video coming out. So I just sat there scratching my head like, what kind of people am I dealing with that they don't see this? So, again, with the whole hater thing, they just love to bitch just to bitch, basically. And they, they didn't care what was true. They just wanted to make me look bad, which, some people like to do today, despite if it's the truth or not. That was the main theme that was going on back then. Let's just, discredit him any way we can. And James always came out the victor. Even with, I think, the Odyssey, I had foreshadowed, it was the very first History of Video Games that I did. I had foreshadowed again, look, I'm going to do the Magnavox Odyssey. Before I could get to it, he ends up reviewing the Magnavox Odyssey. So it was stuff like this I dealt with constantly. And if you don't believe me, it's like, well, why would he even review a system like this? It was such a departure from something like an Atari or a Nintendo game. You know, and I hate having to reveal, oh, I'm going to do this next, because James would always magically do it before I could get to it. And he would get to it, and then I would look like the bad guy when I got to it. Yeah, when the haters, or I'm sorry, when people like Asolari, you know, even Archfiend, they were starting to catch on to this stuff and be like, hey, what the hell is with this guy? Why is he, you know, he's making tons of money. Why is he making this Kickstarter for a movie? And, you know, I just want to make it known that I don't fault him for using Kickstarter to do his movie. I mean, it seems like everybody's doing that these days, and there's a lot of great programs that show up on Kickstarter. Things like Reading Rainbow, which is, you know, a great thing to bring to the public, because, you know, there's education always comes first in my mind. So, you know, programs like that are great. But I think when James does stuff like the Kickstarter for his movie, then the Kickstarter for Cheetah Men, is just, you know, the way things just kind of transpired really went sour. And it was almost as if James was bragging, oh, look, I got this and this and this, and I've got tons of games. And, you know, I was trying to make that clear in the parody, that's exactly what he did. You know, I don't hate the guy. I was just pointing out and making fun of it. But, I mean, that's what a spoof is. So, I just find it interesting that with all these things, though, certain people were starting to see that maybe all these people had put him up on a pedestal, and now they were second-guessing their decision. And since they were softening up to this whole thing, then they started questioning, well, wait a minute. Is all this hater propaganda real? Is Chris Boris really, you know, evil? Is he really copying him? Is he really doing this and that? But during this time, I started getting emails from all these people who were once haters, you know, just really wanting to know things and really asking, hey, wait a minute, is this true what happened? Because, you know, I'm starting to think about this now. And all these things started coming to the surface. And they would ask me things like, oh, is this true or is this true? And I would tell them my side of the story, and for the most part, they would go, huh, maybe Chris Boris is a nice guy. Because, you know, prior...
I think Chris is a really nice guy.
To 2011, 2012, I didn't do too many videos where I was just, you know, like this, like myself. It was always Irate Gamer, Irate Gamer, Irate Gamer. And I kept that personality going. I didn't really show, you know, me.
And I mean, him doing the Irate Gamer reviews is just him wanting to do what he does. I mean, if he wants to do angry video game reviews of old video games just like James does, there's no problem with that. Chris should be able to do whatever the heck he wants to do. I would... You know, if someone copied me, I would see what they did, and even though they said he was copying James, he was doing what he wanted to do.
Me in my natural state in front of the camera. And, you know, YouTube has kind of evolved now where, you know, angry reviewing has kind of lost steam, and you know... So
I thought of doing video game reviews, and maybe I'll do them in the years to come. But mostly, what I'm obsessed with is movies. You know, I like having a DVD stack.
Celebrities are more watched than people like us, and you know, you evolve and you do more things. So I've kind of let my hair down a little bit, and you see me more natural now. But back then, you know, people thought that I was that character. So it's kind of nice now knowing that people like, Acelary and Archfiend and a host of others. I'm sorry I'm blanking on names right now, but it's kind of nice to see that they've mellowed out and kind of seen my side and seen things for what they are. And if you still think I'm a douche, I'm sorry. It is what it is. If you want to hate me, go for it. But I'm very content with what I'm doing now. I know I'm doing a lot of Skylander things, and I'm doing a lot of ghost things outside of, YouTube, which, I'll be posting more of those during October. But, this is what I like doing. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I've always done the YouTube channel for myself. I'll probably do some history of video games in the future. One is actually filmed. I haven't really got to it yet, or, had time to edit it down. But one's already filmed. It just needs edited. And, I want to continue the Irate the 80s. It's just finding time right now. YouTube, like I said, it's not the same place it was before. And, I love to put more time and energy into the YouTube channel, but like I said, it's not the same YouTube that it was. And views are down all across the board. Unless you're the top, 10 or 20 YouTubers, views all across the board with partners have gone down. And, that just means I've got to spend more time on projects off YouTube. And, I also do things for the community and charity and all this other stuff. So, I've got to divide my time equally. And, so I hope to do more Irate 80s in the future and history of video games and all this thing. But it's tough sometimes. So I try to do it in my spare time when I can. Because I know you guys are still craving it. But just know, there's going to be stupid little videos in between that you probably won't like. And that's all I can say. Alright, this video has been a long time coming. I've thought about doing this video a lot of times in the past, but I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if it'll turn out well. But it's done. There's my side of the story. You can agree with it or not, but, I don't care at this point. Alright, guys. Well, thank you for watching. It's been a hell of a run. I mean, geez, so many opportunities have opened up for me. I've learned so many new skill sets, like doing interviews, going to E3. That's so much fun. Having such great relationships with like Activision and Sega and Nintendo, and getting to do all these things was a lot of fun. And I've met a lot of interesting people as well. But I just want to make it clear that, I don't hate James. I've never hated James. I'm not the type of person to really hate anyone. That's not my nature. I just didn't agree with the way things all went down and how he dealt with things. Because, like I said, the whole reason I started doing this is because I saw that video where he said, yeah, I don't mind people doing the same thing I do. I find it flattering. And when he did all this stuff to me, I just thought to myself, well, he didn't care if anybody did this until somebody got popular from it. That's the only time it seemed to matter to him. But I'm not going to sit here and defend everything I've done, because look, I'm human, I make mistakes, and I'm sure there's things out there that I've done I can't remember right now that people are like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But look, if I offended anyone, I apologize. But, look, this is YouTube. This isn't, something like the movies or TV. It's YouTube. Get over it. Alright, so in closing, I just want to say thank you to the fans for watching over the years. You've really seen me grow up. Because my first batch of videos were kind of horrendous. And, yeah, you guys have seen me grow up on camera over the past 7 years. So thank you, and I do this stuff for the fun of it. That's pretty much all I like to do is entertain people, and that's all I'll try to do in the future. So thanks again for watching. Love the fans. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So thanks again, and until next time, game on.
Well, that video made a lot of sense, and I think Chris did a good job with that video. And I'd just like to say, with Chris, I understand that the Irate Gamer was inspired by the AVGN, and yeah, so that's why he started, because he didn't want to copy James, I think, immediately, but when he saw that James didn't mind that people were reviewing games as well, I guess he didn't really care, but I don't know. And anyway, definitely subscribe to Chris and AVGN. I like AVGN's You Know It's Bullshit videos the most. And I thank you all for watching. Stay up to date and subscribe. Alright, peace out.